What's up, fight fans? Welcome back for another edition. Algorithms versus the experts. I'm your MMA Sleepless Sharp. Please welcome back Professor Violence. He's back, 2 week vacation, but the man is back strong.
Hope so.
Um, this time, every time, please like, share, comment, subscribe, chat with us, email us. Interested to hear your thoughts and your picks. We're getting this out to you a little earlier this week. Wednesday, we already had picks going out by Monday, but we're going to do a little breakdown and give you some predictions as well. UFC Vegas 75 coming off last week. Another good card, profitable card. Saw Amanda retire as the GOAT. But how you feeling, Professor?
Jury's out. It's too early in the day for me to really know, and it's been a weird couple of weeks. I don't know if I would say I've been on vacation, but I definitely haven't been here. I tried to be here.
Okay.
I even signed in during your recording of previous podcasts.
He did, and he sent me pics, and he did send pics and things. So he was
Everybody, I promise.
he was still committed to the calls.
Anyways,
But no one remembers those last two fight cards even happened. Well, I mean the only fight that really the only fight that everyone really was Oliveira Dariush was the big fight. The people's main event.
Sure you
If
had
you,
that.
I mean, I think Dariush is definitely the sharp bet, and he did go off from like a small underdog. He went off like the favorite, a medium. I think he was like minus 150. So I can see that. I think that's definitely he was a sharper bet, but just Oliveira is just always deadly. So I don't know. He just caught him. I thought Oliveira would be a little too strong for him, maybe based on who Dariush has fought, and maybe hits harder. But Dariush has those sick counters, which worked because Charles just doesn't change his style. He's always going to come after you.
Yeah.
But he just got caught twice. Right, the head kick kind of landed, did something, and then he just caught him on the chin with a hook, and he was pretty stunned. And that's it. The fight was over.
It was cool because there wasn't a combination either.
No, you're right. It wasn't.
It was what? And he crumbled. Like that's that shows a certain level of composure on the side of Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
One of the it's very, very common for fighters coming up to drop someone and then or hurt them and then blow their wad trying to finish them.
Oh yeah.
The most iconic displays of this would be Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ali took the most historical ass whooping of all time, and at the end they called him a genius when he got a knockout in I think it's the 12th round, right? But I think that the most iconic version of this in mixed martial arts is actually Pat Barry versus Chet Congo, where Pat Barry had Chet Congo on the ropes, almost dead. How is this man still moving? And just got over aggressive, got clipped, and went out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Neil's a better fighter than Charles on paper in every category, but I just don't think he could match the intensity.
Right.
Like Hamza Chimaev. Right. In addition to his qualities as a fighter, or in addition to his skills as a fighter, his intensity is higher than anyone else's intensity. Better or worse, but like you need to address that. That's something I've struggled with in the past, and it looked to me like that's what Vanille struggled with.
Me too. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between like I just want to win the fight against you. I just want to win the grappling match. I don't want to kill you. You know, like there's a difference between the intensity levels, right? Like of that. So yeah, I definitely
they both come from savage camps.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
like
true.
They both come from extremely violent camps. I'm talking we're in the hurt business. those two gyms are more violent than the rest. So it's not like he's not going to be accustomed to the intensity that's allowed.
No, yeah, not that at all.
I feel like he got run over.
Yeah,
And it wasn't like it wasn't close for a moment, but like look in that guard. That guard game was all Oliveira. That is not how Oliveira's guard typically looks. You're there for a few seconds, and then he gets out of there.
Right.
They were there for an entire round, and Oliveira was winning that entire round. That is not something I expected.
You're right. I was watching the fight with two of my buddies too, who aren't as savvy with that as me or you. And they were even saying that, wow, Oliveira is kind of beating his ass from the bottom, like, and they were like these elbows are really like getting through. Can he win the round like that? And I was like, I don't know. Usually they just give you top, but he's definitely outworking him. But
Yep.
which is kind of what I felt. Right, that thought. So that's a good way of putting it. I don't know how to label it for instance, intensity, but I thought he would struggle with Oliveira's strength, and I was thinking like tenacity, but a better word is the intensity of what he brings. I think.
Yeah, I don't consider Oliveira especially tenacious.
Okay.
Like, look at how many times, and this is now calling into question a thing that might be gone, right? But look at how many times he's folded.
Yeah, I would say it's gone too. Yeah, that guy's not there anymore.
Yeah, so I don't mean to imply that quality is still here, but he can't have had that quality for that long and be considered a tenacious human being. He can be a resilient human being
Fair.
who will give up and come back, but he's not just going to never stop until it's accomplished. I mean, I guess in the long script game he is. So how many times has he folded and then come back and then impressed us when he's come back? Wow. But it's not like who's the dude who just set historic records of strikes and takedowns against Petterian? The Georgian.
That is Dvalishvili.
Yeah, Merab Dvalishvili. Dvalishvili is tenacious. He will never stop. It does not matter what you do to him. You must turn those lights out, or this dog doesn't stop fighting you. There is zero chance that Merab Dvalishvili is going to scratch.
True.
Right? Like, he's always coming back. Anyways.
I like
all right, Johnny, what you got this week?
Solid breakdown. So hidden gem this week. I dug up a little, dusted it off, polished it, and kind of did because he's making a return after about 15 months. Polished up a little Denise Bondar, a little hidden gem for everybody. I do think Carlos Hernandez is pretty solid and well-rounded, good cardio, but his wrestling to me has been a major weakness thus far in his career. Bondar, not the best look. He's coming back from an armbar, which was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad injury, and he got that from Malcolm Gordon. He needed time to heal that up. 15 months away from the game. 30 years old, so he needs to get his UFC career going. I do think this is a good matchup, though, and he waited for a good matchup where he has a clear path to victory. He's not just a wrestler. I do like his, I got notes here, I'm going to read it for you. His jabs. Jabs is used very effectively. He'll pull counter or he'll double, triple up on the jab to get you into the fence where he'll shoot for takedowns, and he's very good at wrestling against the fence.
Talk dirty to me, Johnny. Come on.
Yeah. I do think he's hittable. I think his hands are pretty low. He keeps his hands low. He doesn't have the best head movement, but his cage wrestling and top control are very well. He's also good at passing from what I've seen. Elbows, punches, he's active on top. He's not just going to sit there and lose minutes. When he gets on top, he will win that round. The thing that concerns me, though, I think his record looks a little padded. But without that threat in this fight, I think Hernandez is purely a striker. I think I think this is for him to win this fight. I think he's got really good cardio. That wrestling, I think that chain wrestling is going to really be a problem for Hernandez. So I think Bondar wins. That's my best. That's a bet. I think he actually wins by. I think he finds a submission finish at somewhere, but definitely one unit on Bondar. I think he should be the favorite. He is a small favorite now. And when the props come out, I think submission. I think he can get a submission win.
Ooh, Bondar has a win over Steve Ursig.
Shiny jab. Oh yeah, he does. I forgot to say that because I'm a dope. That wasn't important. No, I have that here too. But Ursig is. I thought he had a shot last week, and then you actually said Ursig's a good fighter. He is a good fighter, and he got tested hard with Dvorak, and he passed. He did well.
He won, right?
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, he looked really, really, really good.
You know who didn't win? Miranda Fear the Maverick.
Oh, right.
Gosh, she's terrible. She's terrible at MMA.
That is wildly aggressive, and I like wildly aggressive. That is unnecessarily aggressive for the level of skill set that she has shown us.
She won the first round, too. She won the first round.
Something to push her over the hump. She's not dangerous enough.
She went straight back every time her opponent just came forward with jabs and crosses, and never decided to circle or shoot. It was just, what are you doing?
There's definitely some errors in her game. For all of the talent, her performances don't match her talent level.
I'll agree with that. Yeah,
that's why I still say that she sucks at MMA, because that's a talented fighter.
I take it back.
Yeah. Dude, I'll let you shit talk about it. Who's the big Brazilian bald guy that I shit talk all the time?
Rogerio de Lima. I know, and he's on a winning streak. He's on a winning streak.
Occasionally, I don't mind you shitting on fighters that I don't think are good. I think Miranda Maverick is really good. There's just something going wrong.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I was being salty because she X'd out my She X'd out my parlay. I had a good 5-leg parlay, and she X'd it out.
Is she the only one that didn't pull?
Yeah.
Didn't pull first?
Oh, and she was the biggest favorite, of course.
Yeah. Okay, I can see how you do that.
I was like, come on, Maverick. Had a good one. Had a good one going there at Ursig plus money, Kyle Nelson plus money. It was a nice payout.
So, all right. Yeah, man. I don't actually know a lot about Denise Bondar, but you're right. His record is padded. As I look in through his record, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 fights that I would consider a test before he got to the UFC, right? So he's got 20 professional fights and 5 amateur fights. I'm going to include Steve Ursig. I'm going to include 2 amateur fights. So he's had 6 tests. Fights. No, he's failed 3 of those tests. He's got 4 losses, which means that he lost something that wasn't a test either. Somewhere in here, he lost something. He lost to Malcolm Gordon. Okay, so yeah, he's had 6 tests and he's lost 4 of his 6 tests. Right, that's not, man. Go to school and get an F on 4 of your 6 exams and ask me what your grade is. Right, so I haven't watched this guy. I really haven't, and I didn't know that he was going to be the hidden gem of the week until 5 minutes before we started. And that's on me to not give you guys a better analysis, technical analysis. But I don't like what I see from him. It happens from time to time, but it's my job to do better than I was this week, anyways, and better than I was last week. So I don't like what I see on paper from Denise. That being said, he's good for quote unquote 11 takedowns per 15 minutes. That is insanity. But the problem is he's only ever tried 1 takedown in the UFC. He accomplished it and only fought for 1 minute and 22 seconds in the UFC. So his number is insane. But he has 100% takedown success and 11 takedowns per 15 minutes. So like his style is, pretty obvious already. So then we look at Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez lost against Alan Nascimento round 1. Okay, he lost a test. Victor Altamirano, that's a test. He won that one. Daniel Perez, that's a test. He won that one. And then before that, you have even match, gimme fight, even match, even match-ish, right? Like the kind of fights that you're supposed to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got an extensive amateur background. He's got, what did he go? 13-1 as an amateur. Like Carlos Hernandez is good. He's got a lot of fights. He's got a lot of victories. He's another guy that I didn't look into enough. So if you're telling me that his wrestling can't keep up, that's a problem.
Shouldn't be able to, no.
But Illinois is a wrestling state. Valley Flag is a very good grappling school. Like Jessica Penne trains there. Bilal Muhammad trains there. Both of them are quality on the ground. There was that giant Mexican that just fought out of there. He might have been Chilean. He was Latin, whatever kind he was. The dude is 18 feet tall at 145 pounds or whatever. And took 4 years off and then smashed someone. Anyways, like Valley Flag produces quality fighters, and they do a good job of, to my knowledge, they do a good job of game planning for their opposition. So if Denise Bondar is as good as you say he is, and Carlos Hernandez has the problems you say he is, yeah, man, go with Bondar.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler.
On paper, just on paper, without having seen their fights, Carlos Hernandez wins this on paper. Only on paper.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, I got Bondar plus 110. He's about minus 105. I think he should be about minus 150-ish. And he might go to it might go up a little more, but yeah, we'll see. Definitely going to get the best line there, and he's got a clear path to victory. All right, main card, 6 fights.
One thing I want to that I want to highlight on the undercard is Jimmy Flick's
right.
Versus Alessandro Costa. Jimmy Flick took 3 years off before his last fight, and his last fight came off the heels of that James Krause investigation.
Yeah.
So, there was some weirdness to the line in the Jimmy Flick fight months ago, where we both did separate investigation onto whether or not we thought that fight might be fixed. It didn't end up looking like it was fixed.
No, it wasn't. No.
Right, so,
he'd be an idiot to do that after 3 years off. Yeah, I wouldn't.
But on paper, Jimmy Flick was the dude you would pay to take a dive. Right, so like it was totally worthwhile us making that investigation. It just didn't seem to be that thing. Now looking forward at this fight, this is a pretty winnable fight for him. And as I look into Jimmy Flick, like that's a bad motherfucker. He's kind of a weird motherfucker. His style doesn't look like other people's, but he is very effective at doing what he does. So I'm really excited to see Jimmy Flick back. I was hoping he wouldn't just get canned. And I think Alessandro Costa is a good fighter. But I'm pretty sure that he's not much of a grappler. So this should be a solid opportunity for Jimmy Flick to get in the win column in the UFC, because I think
I agree.
Is like his second UFC fight. This would be his third UFC fight.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. Yeah, I think Costa's a willing grappler in a sense, but yeah, this is from what I've seen out of him so far. He's pretty low volume. This is a much better test for Flick, and the lines drop substantially in favor of Flick. So. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Jimmy Flick's worth a smaller bet. Just see what happens. Maybe Flick by submission too. That's how he fights. He's going to try to submit you if he gets the fight down. But
that's a very scary term you use there. Willing grappler.
Yeah, he'll willingly grapple.
right? Like we bring that up a lot. There's some people who are good at grappling, some people who are bad at grappling, some people who are unwilling to grapple, and some
Hmm.
people who are willing to grapple, right? You can be bad at grappling and willing to grapple. You can be good at grappling and unwilling to grapple. And those can win you fights. That right there. Being bad at grappling and being unwilling to grapple can win you a fight. Being
Yeah.
bad at grappling and being willing to fight or willing to grapple will lose you a fight. Being good at grappling and being unwilling to grapple will also win you a fight. Right? Like it's just if you're there's so many people out there that are bad grapplers and they're willing to grapple with you
I'm
and
a
they
bad
win
grappler.
fights because of it.
It's
I
me.
got my favorite rash guards as bad grapplers grappling.
That's my favorite rash guard too, but it's too expensive, so I haven't bought it yet. Every time I check on it, it's like $85. I'm like, that's too much for a rash guard.
Oh yeah. Chris and I got it on BJJ HQ for like $25
Yeah,
each. We saw one, we both got one right away.
nice. Yeah.
So yeah, anybody who's a willing grappler that isn't grapple first, that's a dangerous person to bet on. Someone who is grapple first or even good at grappling. You ever get the vibe that somebody's more willing than they are capable? Don't put your money there.
Mm.
All right, main card.
Main card. First fight.
Card.
Muslim Salikov.
Yeah. The king of kung fu.
Nicholas Dalby. Yeah. So I do like Salikov. He's not a hidden gem because he's on the undercard. He's just a gem. I do like Salikov. I did bet Salikov as well. Nick Dalby, 21-4 record. He's got a good record, Nick Dalby. Thing about I see in his fights though is just he's just kind of always giving away the first round. Slow starter. He needs you to fade. He needs you to fade in order to take advantage and get back into the fight and win the fight. Pretty good takedown defense from what I've seen. But I'm not really afraid of his striking overall. The king of kung fu, Salikov. I think Salikov is, well, despite the name King of Kung Fu, he's well-rounded. I think he's well-rounded in a lot of things.
Not Kung Fu.
Oh,
Wushu is the style of Kung Fu. His moniker is the King of Kung Fu, but Wushu Sanda is a style of Kung Fu incorporating it's kickboxing with takedowns, but the kickboxing philosophies don't come from Kyokushin karate like K1 style do. The philosophies of their kickboxing come from Kung Fu. So it's Kung Fu kickboxing with takedowns.
Okay.
It's also where Zabit comes from.
Oh, okay.
So you see these weird strikers with takedowns, like
the
40-year-old Asian dude who could spinning back kick his way through a wall. Usanda. Go ahead.
All right. No, that's true. That's
Zhang Wei Li, Yang Xiaonan, Wushu Sanda.
Yeah, I think that does. I think that style is combined with Salikov's cardio. Salikov doesn't really get. I don't think Salikov gasses out ever. I can't read
one strike per 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's got a. I think he. I think he's got. I think he can win this fight multiple ways. But I do think this is a. I don't think he'll struggle getting Nick Dalby down. I don't think he's going to gas, regardless of how this fight will happen. I think he got caught by the Leech. The Leech is a good fighter. The Leech caught him. He won. He definitely won the first round against the Leech. His timely takedowns are key. He knocked out Andre Fialho the last fight, so he saw his strike. I think he wins this fight. I think he's better everywhere. So give me Salikov as a favorite. I don't like to bet favorites, but it did bet 1 unit. Muslim Salikov.
So I think that Nicholas Dalby is actually a better fighter than Muslim Salikov. But I think Muslim Salikov is one of the best competitors in the UFC. Like Henry Cejudo consistently rises to the occasion.
Yeah.
Henry Cejudo, Ray Longo described him as a mental giant. Like, instead of a mental midget, I think that Muslim Salikov is a mental giant. I think he dramatically outperforms his skill set by staying in his lane and understanding competition better than he even understands fighting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's not an insult on his fighting ability. I think that he's just
no.
I think he's been competing at such a high level for such a long time that he understands things that we don't understand. And you and I can sit here and study fighting and pick up on his stuff, but we would have to go and study broad strokes competition to figure out what actually makes Muslim Salikov victorious, or actually makes Henry Cejudo victorious, right? Because Nicholas Dalby is a very slow fighter, I think he's going to play right into Muslim Salikov's hand. Like, he's looking to create predictable, slow-paced fights. His style is a lot of feints for techniques he's not even going to use, and then it's really just like, I think it's just a right hand and a takedown, and then he sets that up by feinting a jab. He didn't even throw the jab; he just feints a jab and then throws a right hand or throws, I think it's a double leg, right? So, like, it's a really simple game. But I got into primitive building, and you'll see these guys who only have an axe, and they'll cut down these trees with an axe, and they'll cut these weird holes in the trees, like these weird notches, and they'll line the trees up, and then they'll cut a nail out of another log, and they'll flip their axe around and use the back of it to hammer this weird nail into the wood, because they don't have a screwdriver and they don't have a clamp and they don't have any of the other modern tools that you would normally use that for. They don't even have nails or screws, right? Like, they made a nail out of wood and then used their axe as a hammer. Muslim Salikov only walks around with a hammer and a drill. So every problem that he sees, he solves with a hammer or a drill. Like, I have a student who I told him he's only allowed to use guillotines for the next month. I told him, I don't care what situation you're in. Someone tries to ankle lock you, guillotine your way out of it. Right? You're smiling because in your head, that's impossible. Like, how would I possibly guillotine my way out of a leg lock? But I shit you not, when I told him to guillotine his way out of a leg lock, he went,
okay.
You're like, yeah, I'll figure it out.
I'll do it.
Muslim Salikov will use a guillotine to get out of a leg lock. And that's not a real technique. So I think that Muslim Salikov is going to win this fight. I think that you were in the right betting on Muslim Salikov. I would genuinely be surprised to see Nicholas Dalby win this fight. And I typically pick Dalby, even when I'm wrong.
You do pick Dalby a lot.
I pick Dalby a lot.
All right. No, I like it. It's good. It's a good counter analysis. Next fight, Nick Mota, Manuel Torres. This should be a straight banger from what we've seen out of, if you've seen any of their fights. I think Mota is more well known. He's been in there against he's been in recently and has fought against better guys. I couldn't see a lot of I couldn't find a lot on Manny Torres, his earlier fights. Couldn't find footage or anything when I tried to look as what I could. Mota cracks. He throws huge right hand, left hook. He throws them as a combination. Throws a lot of power into all those shots. Torres is going to have a reach advantage, 3.5 inches, and if he's got the build, he's got a long rangey build for his weight class. He also, I think his hand speed sticks out before his power, like really nice jab. I don't know if he's going to use kicks, but I think it would do him well in this fight. I think he was super reckless, especially in his last fight against Frank Camacho. Was it Camacho? Frank Camacho. Yep. He took some shots, and he was able to eat them. and he was able to get the finish over Camacho. So he's definitely a big believer of his chin, and he's going to be looking. I don't know if that's going to change. So I lean that he's going to want to throw down in the pocket. So will Mata. So I kind of see this fight ending. I think somebody knocks someone out. Probably within 2 rounds. Gee, if Torres shows all that reckless abandon like he did last fight, it's hard to man. He's gonna get caught, but maybe he just eats it. Maybe he's got that granite Mexican chin, and he's just man. God. So I don't know. I think this fight finishes. I think KO TKO. So you can find that prop bet. Like how will the fight finish? KO TKO. I think it happens in round 1 or 2. Looks like Torres is the favorite, minus 150 ish. So yeah, yeah, that's I guess that's fair. But I'm not sure who wins this fight, but I'm pretty confident it ends in a knockout.
Yeah, that's a really, really fair assumption. It's Manuel Torres seems to train like in the middle of nowhere, right? Like he's not. When I look up, he just trains everywhere. That's why I can't figure out where he trains. It's not listed. His city of origin isn't listed, but I see him at Interim Gym. I see him at the UFC PI. I see it. Actually, it looks like Interim Gym is his big home, and that's a really good school. Yeah. I see more Interim Gym than anything else.
Okay.
Now that I'm deeper in, it's all Interim Gym. Okay, so he's training out of a good camp. He's manager. And he's traveling around a lot. So like there's MMA Masters time. This is him at some boxing gym in Mexico recently. Like he's very much traveling around trying to improve his skill set. He's not stuck in one place doing one thing. Like, yeah, I think he might have even left Interim Gym recently and is only training other places because he's got 40 pictures of him in gyms. Oh yeah, Cobrinha's school in Vegas, training with the ATT guys and Khabib. Like that's not even his management team. This guy's good. If this guy's welcome I'm seeing multiple photos of him and Khabib. If he's welcome training in that group, he's very talented. Very, 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 very talented. Man, I'm a lot bigger than Mota. But I sparred with him twice, and like stylistically, I gave him problems in our first round. And then in the second round, he spammed me with head kicks, and I didn't know what to do about it. Right, like just head kick. I don't mean to imply that I was victorious in either round or anything like that, but like I've been in there with that guy, and sometimes you run into somebody and win, lose, or draw, they are anomalous. Right? Like, what the fuck just happened to me? I won every second of that. What the fuck just happened to me? I lost every second of that. What just happened to me? Other than the fact that he came out as a totally different dude in the second round and threw almost exclusively head kicks, it was just a normal round. Right. And then he started bouncing around from camp to camp and like trying to figure out what his proper home was. And like, it seems like that was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, and he's been at least 2 or 3 gyms since then. I don't think he's found his groove. I think he's a quality fighter. But I think he's still searching for himself. And I'm going to lean towards Manuel Torres for that reason.
Okay. Fair. Oh, good fight. Next fight, too. Pat Sabatini, Lucas Almeida.
Pat wins. Enough said.
Pat wins. Enough said. All right. I liked Almeida's contender series. His fights. I was a fan of him. I mean, I thought this guy was really underrated. He fought well. I think he lost that fight. Yeah, against Zaluber, who's still a blue chip prospect, but he was fought well in that, and then he came back. He got a win on the circuit, like you said, right? He went and got a win in a jungle fight, a finish, and then he was back and he knocked out Mike Trezano. Yeah, man, he's dangerous. And we talked about before about the guys that'll get like Sabatini is going to struggle. He's going to struggle when someone can match his wrestling because he's not a good striker. Um, Damon Jackson was that guy, and Damon Jackson actually finished Pat Sabatini, which I don't think would call that, but he would struggle. Lucas Almeida was just I don't know enough about his takedown defense that I can stamp like he's going to be able to keep it on his feet for an extended period of time. So I got to put this in striker versus grappler category. Yeah, I mean, if he's able to keep this fight on the feet, he's going to knock Pat Sabatini out because Lucas Almeida is a really good striker. If he's not, I don't know much about his get up game or thing. Pat Sabatini I see minus 200. I see minus 185. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that. So I don't know if I have a bet on this fight yet. I don't. But I don't know. I think Almeida can win. He does have a way if he can keep on his feet. I don't know. It's not a clear path because I don't know if he has takedown defense. But you're gonna say Sabatini by submission, round 2.
I don't know if I've ever called rounds. Maybe I have, but like it's not a normal thing I do. Do you consider Daniel Zellhuber to be a quality grappler?
Do I quality grappler or wrestler? I don't know if he's an amazing wrestler. Yeah, I would say he's a quality grappler all around.
Okay, that's a fair way to redirect that. The only nothing tells me that Daniel Zellhuber is an especially impressive wrestler, takedown artist.
No. Isn't Trezano a wrestler first?
Trezano never even attempted a takedown in 3 rounds.
Okay, then no, I'm thinking of somebody, not the guy.
Right. So like the only takedowns that Lucas Almeida has ever seen was 2 from Daniel Zellhuber, who is, to my recollection, virtually exclusively a striker. So Lucas Almeida was able to pressure a striker hard enough to make him shoot on him twice and defended 50% of those takedowns.
Yeah.
He also has a ludicrously high work rate. Like, he lands 6.6 strikes per minute and absorbs 5.6.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of opportunities for Pat to get underneath a takedown and bring him to the ground. Like, that's a lot of activity, and it's a hittable dude. You know, it's not even necessarily that he's hittable. His statistics say that he is hittable, but that's not actually the part I care about. It's not that I care that Pat could hit him. It's that I care that Pat can touch him.
Mm-hmm.
If I can touch you, I can try to grapple you. Will I successfully grapple you? Who knows, man? But if I can never touch you, how can I grapple you?
Mm-hmm.
This is a very touchable man with unproven grappling ability.
Definitely agree.
Against a man with proven grappling ability.
Right.
So I'm going to lean towards Pat Sabatini for the previous reasons. I don't feel like he sucks on the ground. Like, that's not just on the feet.
He might. He might. I mean, compared to Sabatini, he might suck.
What? No. Sabatini on the feet.
Oh.
I think that I don't feel like he sucks on the feet when I watch him, but I understand that he is dramatically different on the ground, right? So I'm definitely picking Pat, but I wouldn't be shocked if he got rocked and then this was another stumbling block for him.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
all right, who do we
All
got
right.
next? Chris Leroy Duncan versus Armen Petrosian.
Yeah, Duncan's second fight, UFC. Um, fought on the British card. He's coming out of Britain. This is a good. This is striker versus striker. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I like Petrosian striking overall from what I've seen out of it. He definitely struggled with grapplers and grappling in general. He didn't. Who did he fight last time? He definitely, yeah, Kyle Bahio got him pretty good. Then he got a decision win. AJ Dobson. Duncan prefers to strike as well. Big power. Yeah, I think we're going to
Oh
see.
shit, Duncan's fucking good.
Yeah, Duncan's good. They're bringing him in. The thing that sticks out though is that reach. The reach advantage for Duncan is massive in this fight. It looks like it's about 7 or 8 inches, depending on where you look. Shoot, man. Striker versus striker. I haven't seen enough of Duncan's all around striking, but I know Petrosian is pretty well rounded as a kickboxer. And he's got more UFC experience. But man, Petrosian, he also did really good. Who did he upset? He came back in the fight versus RoboCop. I remember that, Gregory Rodriguez. He came back in that fight too. He didn't get knocked out by a guy with big power. So, damn. I'll go with Petrosian. It looks like he can hang. He's not going to get. He's tough to finish, and think he outstrikes Duncan, outworks him for 3 rounds. No bets. No bet.
Duncan has a fuck ton of fights. Like a fuck ton. Had 20 or more amateur fights.
Yeah.
In 3 years. He went 17, either 17-5 or 17-6 as an amateur in 3 years. Right. So there's this thing out there that I've mentioned it to you a little bit. It's the IMMAF. It hasn't really made it to mainstream knowledge yet, but it is an amateur organization for global mixed martial arts combat. So they go all the way down to like 9 and 10-year-olds, and they go all the way down to rules with like no head strikes on the feet or no head strikes on the ground. Some include elbows, some don't include elbows. Like they've got all sorts of rules for different age groups. They got some things that include heel hooks, some that don't, right? So Brandon All-In Allen is an IMMAF world champion. Magomed Ankalaev is an IMMAF world champion. The Pleasure Man, his only losses as an amateur were in the finals of the IMMAF World Championships, right? Like, so international competition. These are not people who compete in bumblefuck Wisconsin and rural Pennsylvania for their amateur fights. These are people who are competing against the other best amateurs on the planet, theoretically.
Yeah.
Right? Chris Leroy Duncan is 17-5 as an amateur and has been to 1, 2, 3 IMMAF World Championships. Seemingly made it to the finals all 3 times. Didn't win in the finals all 3 times, whatever. But that means that in a day or two, he had 3 to 5 fights. And then he also was brought back the next year or later that year. Oh, yeah, where he fought back-to-back days on their like traditional card rather than in
Yeah.
their turn. So like this dude's just got a ton of competition. I'm pretty sure that Arman has quality kickboxing experience as well. Like I don't think he's just good at kickboxing. I think he's an experienced kickboxer.
Yeah.
But man, like he's a kickboxer who's coming down to May.
Yeah. Big time.
Chris Duncan has 30 MMA fights. Petrosian has 8 MMA fights, 9 MMA fights. Like this is not, dude. Chris Duncan all day.
Yeah,
Right,
I like it. Yeah, this is like you said before. Sabatini wins. I think you just move on. I don't understand this matchup. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think there's much to really talk about here. I think Sarukian wins.
So does the general public.
This fight makes no sense. It's unranked. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with this fight. But this fight's so bad. It was the main event. They stuck Vettori Cannonier into this to make it the main event because there was so much backlash after this matchup got made. It's one of the few times I guess the UFC matchmakers just fuck up. I don't know what their reasoning was for this fight, but
yeah. So
you'll see Sarukian on display. He's really good.
He's really, really, really good. It doesn't make sense how good he is. He's that good. Yeah, there's 65% takedown defense.
We are not analyzing this.
I am as we speak right now. And here's the thing. You're right. I've analyzed it. You're right. There's the chance that Joaquim Silva flatlines him.
Yeah, injury flatlines. Yeah, definitely. It's always there.
But that's about. Oh, this isn't Tubaro. Oh, this is Nito BJJ, not Tubaro. Dude, I thought he was fighting Tubaro. No. Yeah, enough said. I thought he was fighting the kind of dude that can put his lights out at literally any moment from flicking him in the chin. That's not
okay. Not even that. All right. So just injury. You can only win by injury.
He doesn't have a chance, but I thought that he was fighting.
You're back.
I thought he was fighting Francis Ngannou without skills. And that's aggressive to say about Tubero, but I thought that it was that level of danger and not necessarily tons of sophistication. So I was like, maybe, I don't know. But no, man. This isn't he's not walking in against a nuclear warhead. I think that Nito BJJ is decent, but his nickname is BJJ. He wants to be on the ground.
No.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Marvin Vettori, Jerry Cannonier.
All right, first thing that sticks out about this. So yes, 3 and 4 ranked middleweights in the world. This isn't. It's a decent fight. The thing that sticks out to me right away, just I don't have to look at anything, is this. This is a 5-round fight. Doesn't Vettori just outvolume Cannonier over 5 rounds? I don't know. I don't know who wins this fight.
They have the same work rate.
Do they? All right. I guess that's fair. The line, it's pretty much a pick'em's fight. I don't have a good read on this. I like Cannonier over in most 5-round fights. His Gastelum knocked out Bronson. Adesanya wasn't bad against Adesanya. Oh yeah, the split decision win against Strickland. I thought the scoring of Vettori's last fight against Dolidze was unfair. I think we talked about that after too, because the live line was definitely reflecting that Dolidze was winning. Are any of these guys improving? To me, Vettori's the same guy every time I see him fight, and so is Cannonier. They're the same. They do this. It's the same style. You know what you're getting. Neither of these guys are beating Izzy at this point. I don't know.
I think you're getting a different Marvin Vettori now than you had been in the past, but not by a large margin. He's pretty experienced, right?
Yeah,
And
you're not finishing him.
he came up in a hell camp, right? Like when I mentioned those super savage camps earlier, he came up in one of those. He came up at specifically one of the ones I was talking about at King's MMA.
Yeah, Kings.
So I heard this mentioned about Sean Strickland, where they said it looks like Sean Strickland learned how to fight before he was taught how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like I can either teach you how to punch and kick, or I can throw you in the fire so many times that you teach yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They do a good job of educating at King's MMA, but they also throw you into a hotter fire than anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Vettori's got a lot of miles on him. He was there for a long time. I know how they spar. I haven't been there, but like I've just Shoot the Box's legend. Shogun Hua and Vanderlei Silva were in an argument over a pit bull puppy.
Mm-hmm.
So they fought, and the winner kept the puppy. They were training partners, and I don't even know who knocked the other one out, but one of them knocked the other man unconscious, and he got to keep the puppy.
Oh boy!
Right? That is the type of gym that he came up in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is common for someone at King's MMA to shout "Pride rules," and now soccer kicks and knees to the head of a grounded opponent are now totally fine. Right? Like they are different. I believe Vettori's taken a lot of damage. I believe that is why he is so comfortable taking damage in a fight. I believe that has affected his shelf life, and it has also affected his developmental curve. I think it's delayed his curve, right? But King's MMA has a habit of taking excellent grapplers and turning them into ferocious strikers. Beneil Dariush, Fabricio Verdun, Kelvin Gastelum, Rafael dos Anjos.
Mm-hmm.
Like the list goes on of men who have shown up as a grappler and had so much aggression put into their striking that their grappling like fell to the wayside and became a backup plan.
Okay.
Man, I think that being at Extreme Couture is going to pay off for Vettori. It's a little bit worrisome because they also have some guys that go hard, and Couture's is like the original American version of just kill each other, might makes right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they are like that now that they're Extreme Couture rather than whatever they were back in Oregon. But I think he's getting probably more sophisticated instruction than he had been. Okay. Slightly less violent instruction than he had been. I think that we will see a development in Marvin Vettori for the better. But I think he's only been with that gym for this is his second or third camp there. Right? And it takes some time before you guys start to stop doing this and start to do this. So I expect to see a better Marvin Vettori than we've ever seen. I like Jared Cannonier. I think that he's a more intelligent fighter than Marvin Vettori. But I think that Vettori's growth and well-roundedness is going to pay dividends in this fight, and I expect Vettori to come out on top. This fight.
Yeah, I can see it. Like my first initial, without having a deep breakdown like he just or anything or now, is like Vettori should. I feel Vettori wins this fight. I feel like he does more. I don't know. Like I think Cannonier's fights, they could have the same work rate, but I don't recall Jared Cannonier ever being a minute winner. Marvin Vettori's a pretty good minute winner, if anything. So the fight being, maybe there's value on Vettori because this is a pick 'em fight. Maybe Vettori's worth a bet just as a pick 'em because just for those reasons. I don't see hard to see a finish here because Vettori just doesn't get finished and Cannonier's tough too. So I don't know if anybody finds a finish here, but you get shocked sometimes. But all right, I'm gonna go Marvin Vettori too to get this win.
Yeah. Jared Cannonier is 50-50 in decision fights. Adesanya,
Makes sense.
Whitaker, Wahovic, and Glover all took him to decision. Now, hey, all 4 of those are world champions.
Yeah.
4 world champions, and he went to decision with all of them, right? And like, dude, here's the other thing: the depth at which Jared Cannonier has competed is deeper than the depth at which Marvin Vettori has competed, and Vettori's been in deep waters. But like, Strickland's a top 5, Adesanya's a champion, Brunson's top 5, Kelvin, I believe, was an interim champion and definitely fought for the interim title. Whitaker was the champion. Hermansson's a top 5. Anderson's the greatest of all time. David Branch was a 2-weight champion in another organization. Dominic Reyes fought for the title 2 or 3 times. Wahovic was the champion. I don't know who this Nick Rohick is, but that's the first person in his last 10 to 12 fights that wasn't in the top 5 or a world champion. Like, Jared Cannonier has been in the deep waters for 5 years, for 6 years, been in deep waters. Right before that, fights Glover Teixeira, champion. Ian Cutelaba, going to be a top 5er. And then before that, I stopped caring about the names on his list. Some of them are good. Some of them I don't know. Doesn't matter. But like, dude, since 2017, he's been in the top 5. Even if he didn't have a number there, he's been competing against the top 5 since then.
Yeah.
And then in that reign, Kelvin and Strickland are the only 2 men to take him to decision and not win. Right? Other than that, like, he lost the decision against Cutelaba at 205. And that was, I'm pretty sure, pretty one-sided, but Cutelaba just couldn't put him away. And I don't actually see where the other decision is that happened, whatever. But like, then we'll compare that to Vettori, who I know is deep, but like, let's see. Delidze, top 15, not top 5 yet. Whitaker, champion. Paulo Costa, unfortunately, top 5 somehow. Adesanya, second greatest of all time. Holland, top 15 at 185 maybe, but like not even there anymore. He's a 70-er, and I don't think he's top 15 at 70. Not that he couldn't be, he just isn't. Jack Hermansson, top 15. And then before that, Carl Roberson. Dude, Carl might have gotten cut. I like Carl as a human being, but I don't know that he is still even in the UFC. Andrew Dirty Sanchez, Cesar Mutanchi, like, neither of those dudes are in the UFC anymore. Adesanya, lost to him. Omar Akhmedov, I think he just won the PFL. Shoeface, he's in the PFL. Like, so Vettori has fought really good opposition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And Cannonier's last 12 to 14 fights have been really, really good opposition. So I do stick with this, like, Vettori winning. I think Cannonier is a smarter fighter, though. I think he's a lot smarter fighter, and I think that's why you see so many knockouts and you don't see as many decisions. I think he does. I don't think it's just because he's got this big power. I think he's more intelligent about putting it on your chin than other fighters are. And I think that's the reason that we saw such a boring fight from him and Adesanya, is he was able to play chess with Adesanya, and he lost. But if you look at the numbers of Jared Cannonier versus Israel Adesanya are like pretty close to identical, right? He only lost by 20 strikes. Adesanya landed 26 more strikes than he did, significant more strikes than he did, but threw like 80 more, right? So it's Anyways, I think Jared Cannonier looked just fine in the Adesanya fight. I think that he's got the strategy that he absolutely could be victorious here. But I think that if he doesn't start mixing things up, and I don't mean like changes, I don't mean like you got to use more takedowns, buddy. I mean like you need to add some depth to your game. I don't really care how you do it. You can throw spinning back fists and wheel kicks, or throw more double legs, or just spend more time putting guys against the fence. Like whatever the variable that needs to be added to Cannonier's game, if it isn't added in this fight, it won't be added. Vettori still has the time to add those variables. He's a pretty concrete fighter, but we can make a couple of tweaks to him still, and he's got years left that it might still go that way. So, like I said, I'm picking Vettori, but I'm damn near talking myself into picking Cannonier. I totally understand why the line is as even as it is. If you've made it this far, thank you for being here. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm going to keep the same grin whether I lose or win. Up or down 10, we're going to fight to the end. Say, Moody, Moody, Moody. This time and every time. Thank you.